I've been sitting here playing around like my phone is not close to dying. Hi guys, my name is Diana and today I'm going to be doing my summer TBR. I think I did one last summer, and like I don't do any TBRs for any other season, but like I love summer. And I don't know, I saw other people kind of doing it and I was like, well, I guess I want to do mine too. And I just feel really motivated. This list is like a lot of, it's mostly, it has a lot of sci-fi fantasy because I'm trying to get back into my sci-fi fantasy era. I really miss it, and I only just read romances because they're really easy to read and really easy to get through. But maybe making this video will help me. I only have 20 books on this list. You know, every other year I usually have like 30, but I figure like why not do 20 so I can do like a few a month and not feel guilty if I don't complete all of them. And I'm gonna try my best. You guys know that I'm a mood reader. I might just end up saying fuck this whole list, but I just really want to read these books. Okay, so I'm just gonna get into the video. I'm on the wrong list. Okay, that was my watch TBR. So okay, let's get to it. Most of my books will be right here. I do have a TBR cart, but for some reason that has also just became another bookshelf, and I just use it as a, like I don't use it as a TBR cart. So now this is my TBR area, hopefully. Oh, the first book I have on this list is Outlander. I've had this book for a very long time now. I started reading it and I got pretty decent into it, but I just never finished it. And also started watching the show, but the same thing happened to the first episode. Like I started watching it, I got a little bit into it, and then like nothing came of that. And so I saw that the show was getting a 7th season, and I tweeted like twice. I was like, what goes on in Outlander that it needs 7 seasons? Because from my knowledge, it has time travel, a lot of smut, and like enemies to lovers, and like he's like her soulmate in like another like timeline or something, and they end up getting together. And like I feel like when couples get together, I just get so boring afterwards. So I was like, I don't know if I want to get into this. It's like, what the hell is going on that it needs 7 seasons for, and even more books? I did find out that it is Doctor Who fan fiction, but I don't know what I had the same question about Doctor Who. What is going on in Doctor Who that it needs 14 seasons? But so I'm like, you know what, nobody wants to answer my question. I have to find out for myself. So I'm going to be reading Outlander for research purposes. The next book on my list is Leviathan. So I've been wanting to read The Expanse. I really want the hardcovers of these books, so I told myself that they have like a hardcover package of just the first 3 books, and I really want them, and I told myself that I can't get them until I read the series. So I'm gonna be reading it. I have the Audible, and I'm just in the mood to read something long. I think I might watch the TV show first though, just to get a little bit familiar with it, because I like watching things first and then getting into it, because I have a hard time imagining things on my own. So at least if I can see what it's supposed to look like, then I'll have like an idea, and then it'll just be easier for me to read it. So yeah, I want to read Leviathan. I've read this book. I've tried to read this book twice. The first time it was a buddy read, and I didn't get very far because I don't do well with buddy reads. Like if I can't just read this all in one sitting, if I have to wait for another person, I just don't do well with buddy reading. So I just end up not making it through the book. And so the second time I tried to read it, I think I just kept getting like confused, or I wasn't really paying attention, so I just stopped, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick this up at another time. So I'm gonna give this another try. I think I might watch the TV show first, but I do want to read this for the summer. I think it would be so fun. Okay, next we have the Romance Book Club. This is Second Chance Romance. I love Second Chance Romance. This book was like super popular, but yeah, I know this book series was like super popular, but I think the last few books, like a lot of people just stopped talking about them, so I kind of got scared. But I'm like, I should still give it a try. So what I remember, it's about like this husband. I need to read this book. So because it sounds perfect. Like I guess it's about this husband and his wife, and like they're a married couple, and I guess he's a baseball player, and he finds out that his wife has always been faking her big O, and so he either finds a book club, or yeah, he finds a book club that is dedicated to men. Top alpha male. Oh, the word alpha male just was a jump scare. Okay, yeah, so the top alpha men, they read like novels and stuff, and this is gonna help him with his wife, which is like so romantic to me. Like that is like, a man who will read romance for you is the man for you. Like, let's be real here. Book I have is Bad Girl Reputation. Last summer I read Good Girl Complex and I absolutely fucking loved it. It was like one of my favorite books of the summer. Was it problematic? Yes, it was. But I had the time of my life and that's all that matters. So I want a repeat of that. I want another summer book that is just it's just something fun for the summer. Like, it doesn't need to be taken serious. It doesn't need to be great literature. It doesn't need to be poetic and the greatest thing known to man. I just want to have fun. I want to see myself in this small little beach town and pretend like I'm there and pretend like I'm on the beach reading and have fun. And that is what the first book brought me, and I feel like the second book is going to bring it to me as well. And then if I like the second book, I'm going to be reading the third book, because the third book is going to be coming out soon. So yes, this book is following, so the first book followed a twin and like his love interest. So this one will be following his twin brother and his ex-girlfriend, so it's a second chance romance. So already I love it. Then I have Road Justice, which is the sequel to While Justice Sleeps. I read this book earlier this year. It's one of my favorite books so far this year. I absolutely love it. It's a political thriller, which I love. I don't really like regular thrillers. I always try to read through. Every summer I get my thriller era when I'm reading a bunch of thrillers, trying to find the one for me, and they just never do anything for me. But I read this political thriller earlier this year and I was like, okay, maybe I need to try to get into political thrillers because this was fun. This is about this girl who works with this guy named Justice Wynn, and he ends up dying and putting everything in her name, and so his family thinks that like she was like his mistress, and even the police, and he leaves her an assignment to figure out the mystery of something that is going on, and so she ends up teaming up with his son to figure out what is going on. And so this is like the sequel to it, and I'm just very excited. I loved it. It's by like a black author, and it was everything to me. I have The Will of the Many, which I just got this year. This is, I mean, it's not really dark academia, but it's set in like it's a fantasy book set in like a school. I don't know if it's a magic school, but I do know it's set in school. This book is humongous. I just got this book. This book just came out. It's one of my most anticipated releases of this year. I haven't really talked about it a lot, I don't think, but I could not wait for this book. Like, this is one of my most anticipated releases of this year. Sadly though, I don't have the audiobook, so I have to read this physically. So I'm only 20 pages into the book because I had to read it on my wee little own, and I don't want to do that. But yeah, I started it so far. I don't really know how I feel about it. I don't really have any feelings, but I'm really excited. I want to love it. The book is so beautiful. It has a glossary. It has an index, and this, like, which is anything you could ever ask for from a fantasy book. It has a map, and it's set in a magic school. Perfect. And then I have Delilah Green Don't Care, which I've owned for months now, and I just haven't read it. But because it's summer, and there's like almost the whole series is almost done now, which I guess is the good part about it, because if I love this book, which I'm sure I will, and I mean, I want to read this book before the end of the month because it is Pride Month, and I have not read any Pride books. But to be fair, I am in a reason. Well, I mean, I technically just finished a book where the character was queer, but that wasn't like really like this like center of the story. So I need to get on that, but I've been in reading some. But yeah, Delilah Green Don't Care is very popular. I love the covers by one of my favorite artists, and yeah. Okay, the next one I have is this book called The Art of Scandal. I don't remember what this book's about, but I know it's like political. I think someone's like a judge or like a lawyer or something. I have like a lot of books on my anticipated releases list that have like judges and lawyers and courts and stuff like that. I used to love like I used to love How to Get Away with Murder. So it kind of gives like that vibes, but like more like Scandal. It kind of gives both How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal. But I don't remember what it's about, but I'm excited about it, so who cares. Then I have a book called Sing Me to Sleep, which is a Black Mermaid story. I'm still in my like Little Mermaid obsession era, we can tell. So I have to read this book. I don't know if this book is already out or if it just came out. I know it's supposed to come out like towards the end of June, so I think it might already be out by the time this uploads. I don't even know if it's out now. All I know is I got the book requested on my Libby, and I will be reading it when it comes in. That's all I know. I have That Summer Feeling, which is a queer book. I don't remember what this is about, but me and my best friend Jake from Jake Does Books on Twitter, he kind of has a book too, but like hasn't uploaded in years, and I'm trying to get him to come back, but that's neither here nor there. We have like a book club with each other. We want to start a book club together, period, but we all know how I am with book clubs, and I'm not going to stop trying until I get one that's successful. But we all know how I am with book clubs, and he hasn't really started his booktube yet, so we decided to start like just a book club with me and him for practice. So so every other month one of us gets to choose. So for June I chose That Summer Feeling, and then July is his pick, and then August is my pick again, which I'm excited for because it's my birthday, so I'm trying to think of what I want my August pick to be, but whatever. So June is our first month, and this is my pick, and June is almost over, and neither of us have read this book. He might have read it, but I know for a fact I have never read this book. So this is on my list, and I just feel like it'll be fun. I think it takes place at a camp. I'm really like into like camp books. Oh no, this says husband, but it does take place at a camp. Well, that would be fun, an adult book at a camp, because that's actually what I've been wanting. I want an adult book at a camp, but I'm like, how could you know, correlate those two? Then I have Blood Over Bright Haven. I hope that's, yeah, Blood Over Bright Haven, which is by the author who wrote The Sword of Cayenne, and I'm excited. This is also one of my anticipated releases. It comes out, I think it comes out August 1st. It comes out in August, but it is also like a magic school, dark academia type of book. I don't remember, but I just feel like I'm gonna love it, and I'm just super excited for it. Anything that has dark academia or magic schools, I'm in. And so the cover is beautiful, and I want to read that one before I read The Sword of Cayenne, just because I don't know what it is about that book, but it just seems so like hard to read. It's literally on this, like, it's in this pile of books that I have. It's not on my TBR for this summer. Because I don't know, something about that book just really intimidates me for some reason. I don't know why. And I know I'm gonna love it, but something about it just really intimidates me. And then I have The Blood Trials, which I feel like I'm always saying I wanted to read. I've had this book on my TBR every single month since January, but for some reason I have not gotten to it yet. But I really want to. It's an adult fantasy by a black author. Like, literally all I've been asking for is an adult fantasy by a black author, and I got that, and I'm sitting here lollygagging around not reading the book. But yeah, it's sci-fi, like literally sci-fi fantasy adults. Like, come on, man. Summer of Nights, which I found from a booktuber, Brittany. What is her channel name? I forgot her channel name. But she's like I cannot think of her channel name. But she used to read like a lot of fantasy. She doesn't really read fantasy anymore. Well, last time I checked, she didn't read fantasy. Books with Brittany. Okay. Does she still read fantasy? Okay, her May releases video is fantasy. Because I know last time I checked, she wasn't really into fantasy. Talked about this book in one of her reading vlogs, and it's like a horror book with like teens, and it's supposed to, like, it gives you like that It feel. If you guys didn't know, It is like one of my favorite Stephen King books. And so cat hair everywhere, and so I really wanted to read this book because I'm like, okay, it's summer, like, it's horror, it's like teen stories, it's supposed to, like, it's blurred by Stephen King, it's supposed to give like Stephen King. Oh, the words are so small. But I'm like, okay, I would love like a little fun like summer horror book. Like, that would just be so much fun. So I put Summer of Night on my list, and I am very excited to get to this, honestly, especially because I know this author also has a sci-fi fantasy book that I want to read as well. So I'm really excited to get into this author as a whole. I have a bit of an oldie on here. Night Film. I found this book, and I was going through my unhaul pile before I actually, like, you remember, I don't know if you guys remember when I had like a bunch of books in my basement that I unhauled. Well, I actually unhauled them finally. And so when before I unhauled them, I made sure that I went through them again just in case. And I looked at the Night Film, and I did not want to get rid of this book. This book is a booktube gem. Like, this book, and it's I don't remember what it's about, but it's a multimedia book about like this case. This is my bookmark. This seems like something I would do. I just used to cut out pieces of paper and just be like, this is my bookmark. So yeah, I decided I want to read this one this summer. I think like a fun little thriller book would just be, you know, fun. And I'm probably gonna read this in one of my vlog for like reading booktube, like reading old popular books on booktube. I have this book planned to read for that one. Spoiler alert. Speaking of Stephen King and horror, I decided I want to put the Tommyknockers on this list. I have 3 books by Stephen King, well 4 books by Stephen King that I really want to read. One is the Tommyknockers, one is 11/22/63, the other one is Insomnia, and then his newer book Fairy Tales that I read half of and just never finished. But I had all of them on it except for Fairy Tales. I don't know why. I'm not really rushing to finish Fairy Tales, but I have all of them on my list, but I just took it off and just took it down to Tommyknockers. I know this one has to do like with aliens, and I mostly want to read it because I want to read the ones that connect to other ones, but I want to read this one because I know, and this might be a spoiler, so if you care about like, you know, the Stephen King multiverse and how they relate to each other, this is probably a spoiler for you. But in the book, they walk to the kids in this book walk to Derry to get batteries, and on their way back they see a clown in a sewer, and so that's how it connects to it. And I just thought that was so cool, so I was like, okay, this is like my top priority. And I know Insomnia also takes place in Derry. Derry is my favorite like Stephen King fictional place. I know Insomnia also takes place in Derry, and that's also why I want to read 11/22/63. But I'm saving that one for that date, or at least a vlog where I can upload that vlog on that date, because I think it would be cool. But yeah, I want to read Tommyknockers, and it would just be like a fun, it is like 800 pages, but I gotta get over it. I gotta get into my big book era. I have to stop being a little bitch, okay? I gotta get into my big book era. I gotta start reading these books. I gotta get into it, okay? Speaking of big books, I have The Best Thing by Mariana Zapata. I don't even remember what this book is about, but it was either this or All Roads Lead. And I remember seeing this book when I look up certain book recommendations. I'm always seeing this book in that list. Yeah, I just put this on my list. It was either this or All Roads Lead Here, and All Roads Lead Here seemed longer. So, and I gotta get these. I only own 2 Mariana Zapata books, and I gotta get them. I gotta knock them down, okay? I've only read 2 of hers so far, so yeah. And then I have this book called All Downhill With You. It takes place in an amusement park, and that's mostly why I want to read it. I've been trying to read this book all year. It's a romance Kindle Unlimited series. It has like a different couple per book. I think one of them is like Second Chance, one of them is Marriage of Convenience, and so I've been wanting to read these books all year, but I just haven't gotten to them, and I'm like, okay, well, the best time would be to read them in the summer. So I just have the first book on that list, and that's the one I want to read. And then next I have Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. At first I didn't want to, when I first got this book, I was like so excited, and then I saw the reviews, and a lot of people didn't really like it. But then I saw Kayla from Books and Mom. I read this book and she loved it, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna finally give this a chance, because I loved her other book. I love Mia Sosa's other book, so I decided I'm just gonna give it a chance and whatever, because I already own it. And then I have Before I Let Go, which to me doesn't really seem like a summer book, because like whenever people read it, they like are really sad. But I have this book, I want to read this book. I want to read more Kennedy Ryan books, because I think I've only read 1 book by her, and like the other 2 I DNF'd. So I was like, you know what, I need to get into this book for the summer. Then I have another big fantasy book, Theft of Swords. This one is more like 3 books in 1, but I've really been wanting to read this book since I've heard about it. Like, it's been on my TBR list all year, and so I really just need to get into it. And then lastly, I have The Lord of the Rings. I don't know what made me decide I finally want to get into this series, but I finally want to get into it. Because I feel like I look like a Lord of the Rings girl. Like, I look like if you look at my aesthetic, like I love fairies, like I love elves, I like all of it. You would think I would like it. And I tried to watch the movie, but it seemed kind of boring. But I asked like on Twitter and Instagram, like, what are people's favorite things about the books and the movies, just to like help me feel motivated, and it did help me out. So I do want to read it. So I might read The Hobbit first though. But yeah, that's it for this video. Comment what books you are planning on reading this summer. I hope that you like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.